Hey everyone, Dr. Jeremy here. In today's session, I want to show you something that genuinely caught our entire team by surprise. We ran one of our electroacupuncture-based bioelectric protocols, not to diagnose anything, but to observe how the body reorganizes its internal terrain when it receives the right kind of electrical input. To help visualize these shifts, we used a simple microscopy setup as a window into the terrain, and what we saw was remarkable. Changes in movement, separation, and overall organizational patterns that raise fascinating questions about how electroacupuncture interacts with the body's energy systems. Get ready. This is some of the most thought-provoking terrain footage I've seen.
It takes 6 minutes to suck it in, but then it takes longer for it to dismantle it. This blew us away. Here's supposedly a healthy participant, and I zoomed out to see this worm-like parasite. Now you can zoom in on these things and watch it digest and move. You can watch its stomach inside it. And then 120-minute treatment later, you can see streaked plasma parasites across the background. And then 1 week of treatment, more cleanup happening. And then after 2 weeks from starting treatment, now I found this worm-like structure and it's dead. How do I know it's dead? Because it's not moving. There's nothing processing through its stomach. This is the stomach here. I don't know if you can see it. This is the stomach here. It's not the best photo for the stomach. And what do we have here? We have an immune cell attached to it, slowly dismantling it. Now, just look at the red blood cells for this participant. This was a smoker before treatment. Look at these red blood cells. Is this patient healthy? Well, their Western medicine doctor said yes. Well, how can they be healthy? Aren't they at risk for cardiovascular stroke or some sort of clotting issue with red blood cells like that? Well, take a look at what happens after 1 week of treatment. These look a lot better, don't they? Compare this to this. Yeah, it's a whole lot better. But look, you have these teardrop shapes. They're stuck together by undigested proteins. How do you get rid of those undigested proteins? We just need more time. It takes 4 months of the red blood cells, of the blood being in a good terrain for perfectly new red blood cells to be regenerated so that there won't be any stuck together cells with undigested proteins. Now, what digests the proteins? That's the immune system also, because the immune system has to clean up the toxins. Remember, the neutrophils are like the trash collectors in the blood. This is another example of a atrophied white blood cell. And now look what happens afterwards. It's active and it's sucking in toxins. Here, it's not doing anything. Here, we can watch it moving around, sucking in toxins. Let's see here. So focus now on these plasma parasites on the background. They look like stars, right? Well, look what happens after a week of treatment. They start to clean up. And by the way, what are these needle shapes on the background? Those are fibrin clotting type of tissues, which the immune system is responsible for cleaning that up also. But it's not going to clean that up if it's spending its resources keeping the whole system alive. See, we all know parasympathetic and sympathetic, fight or flight and survival, or fight or flight and rest and recovery. The immune system responds to sympathetic dominance as well, and it stays in fight or flight, and it only takes care of the priority. But once you provide enough energy to the system in the right way, the way this protocol shows you, it can then have enough energy to flip into rest and recovery and cleanup mode. And you're adding years to the patient's life. Another example of movement and separation before treatment, all clumped together. 2 weeks after, look at these beautiful, cleanly floating red blood cells, lots of streaked pathogens across the background, needing more time for cleanup. I believe this is a lymphocyte here. And oxygenation potential, look at the amount of light shining through here versus the amount shining through here and here. Oxygenation's increasing. Here's another white blood cell, atrophied, perfectly symmetrical, non-active. 1 week later, there's more of them to be found, and you can watch these things eat and do their thing. Okay, I tested blood pressure. All 4 participants decreased their systolic blood pressure. All 4 or 3 of the 4 participants increased their their diastolic blood pressure, that lower number. And you're like, hey, Dr. Jeremy, there it is. There's proof. Your blood electric is increasing blood pressure and making somebody unhealthy. Well, if you've studied with me, you know that we use the top number and the bottom number of blood pressure to determine adrenal gland health. And the bottom number needs to be between 80 to 90. So if it's too low, that's adrenal insufficiency. So that's my guess of why 3 out of the 4 participants increased their resting diastolic blood pressure, while all 4 decreased their resting systolic blood pressure. So now you can see, you could see benefits, that are encroaching on big pharma outside of pathogens, right? Because patients take medications for high blood pressure. Patients take medications for rapid heart rate, which I didn't get to yet. That's here. All 4 participants decreased their resting heart rate, which is a big deal. If you look here, participant 1 comes at resting heart rate at 87. Let's say I mismeasured and it was really closer to 80 even. But look at after 2 weeks of treatment, just by adding the right amounts of electricity to the blood, the resting heart rate 63. The heart only rests in between beats, and 63 beats is going to get a patient to live a whole lot longer. So we are actually seeing signs of increasing patients' lifespan, decreasing their cardiovascular risk, and a whole lot more. But all 4 participants decreased resting heart rate. Patients take beta blockers to reduce heart rate, don't they? No need if they come see you and you're doing this protocol. I also measured heart rate variability, and I used root mean square successive differences. It's a big fancy term. It's the gold standard for short-term measurements. Basically, the higher the number of heart rate variability on this chart here, the healthier the patient is, because the more parasympathetic tone they have. Let me just check Wait a second here. How do I do that?
If these energetic shifts surprised you, you're not alone. Observing the internal terrain respond so quickly to electroacupuncture gives us a deeper appreciation for how dynamic the body really is. Remember, this isn't about diagnosing anything. These are observational visuals that help us understand how the body responds to bioelectric input and how terrain organization may shift when we support its energy pathways correctly. If you want to learn my BET protocol, we've created a free downloadable guide for practitioners. You'll find the link below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next session.